Hello everybody, welcome to StraightA, Dawson here, back with an NFL recap of Week 16 this time. Videos coming out a little bit later than usual because it's a good holiday season. I was traveling, seeing family, all the good stuff in between, and I hope you all had a great holiday season. Of course, we still have New Year's right around the corner. Got a couple videos coming out for that, and to celebrate the New Year's ending, or celebrating this year's ending and the New Year's beginning. So we're going to get all that straight away, but we still have a Week 16 recap video. And man, Week 16 was a lot of fun. There's a lot of implications this week that are going to kind of go off into the Week 17, Week 18 games that might decide the whole playoff picture as we know it. Most of the major teams are pretty much solidified in the playoff picture, but there's still a couple big-time players, and on screen now you see one of them. But either way, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like down below, leave a comment to let me know what we can be doing here on this channel, and to improve it, basically. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the video. First of all, we have the Saints at the Rams, and man, this game was actually a little bit fun. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't love the Saints this year. I think the Saints have been not as fun as the stats kind of say to watch, but this was a fun game to watch. Good, helps to pair with them, one of the most explosive teams in the NFL. But the Saints, Derek Carr, pretty decent game. I don't know why people crap on Derek Carr as much as they do. Alvin Kamara, was not his game. I'll tell you that right now. He was involved in the receiving game a little bit, but not as much as he normally is. So, yeah, Alvin Kamara was a non-factor here. They really had to rely on Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. So many people found the end zone. Jawan Johnson, A.T. Perry, as well as Rashid Shaheed. But Chris Olave got a lot of yards, led the team. Derek Carr did pretty good this game. He actually looked pretty all right. The defense, on the other hand, was fine. The secondary kind of blew. I'm not going to lie to you. As good of a secondary as I know they have, it just feels like they just are not playing as well as they should. So it's unfortunate, but then again, it's really hard to do that when Matthew Stafford is lightened up right now. He is starting to look like he did 2 years ago, and this is good. He's explosive, great, playing safe, good football, and it helps us so much when they have a run game with Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams looks like the best running back in the league at times, and it's hard to deny that he is. 22 carries, 104 yards, 4.7 per average, and a touchdown. Not to even mention his receiving game upside. Actually, I don't even know how much he got in the receiving. Actually, none. So, actually, it was just a Puka Demarcus Robinson game with Cooper Kupp right there with some yardage there, too. They even kind of realize how little Kyren Robinson was really used outside of the rushing game this time. But Puka continues to be a monster. Demarcus Robinson continues to be great. Cooper Kupp, still pretty suitable. Tyler Higbee, little safety valve. But only 4 receiving people for that 24 receptions, actually. So that's kind of curious, though. Either way, defense of the Rams is going to be the downfall of the team. They are going to have to get the shit together, and I'm going to tell you what, if this is their shit together, they might just have a shot at making the divisional. Whoops, not that. They might just have a shot at making the divisional because they look pretty good against a halfway decent offense of the Saints. They are starting to put pieces together. They're not consistent always, but if they can put it all together, they might just have a shot on the defensive side of the ball. So, excellent game from the Rams. Saints showed out a little bit, showed that they might have something to build on next year as long as they give Derek Carr another shot. But, yeah, it was the first game, Thursday Night Football. We'll kind of zoom through some of these other ones, but big implication game. I'm going to tell you right now, the Steelers, I'm just calling it. The Steelers are always going to go 9-8, always going to get above 500. It's impossible for them not to. It's just insane. Beside the point. Other than that, Bengals, since their loss to Joe Burrow, probably was one of their worst games. They had no rushing game at all. Jake Browning did what he could, but the Steelers got off to such a dominating start. It was kind of difficult to see. Jake Browning kept on turning over the ball. The defense of the Steelers were all over him. T. Higgins had a great game, but other than that, I mean, they had some other people get involved. Defensively, the Bengals kind of collapsed as well. They couldn't get anything going for themselves. Meanwhile, the Steelers, Mason Rudolph, I mean, he's... Dude, it's Christmas. Oh, well, I guess it's Christmas Eve, right? Yeah, the Christmas Eve game. But Mason, you cannot write a script better than Mason Rudolph coming in and actually doing pretty good. I'm just going to say Najee Harris could have had a pretty great game, way more efficient than Jaylen Warren. And in the receiving game, Jaylen Warren was the more received running back. George Pickens, though, fire game. Where does all of this come from? Where is this coming from the Steelers? All of a sudden they get, Kenny Pickett's on the sideline. You got Mitch Trubisky on the sideline. Now all of a sudden you put in Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, and you get 34 points on the Bengals, a division rival. So you cannot write this script any better. Defensively, though, they looked really good. Not like flashy stats besides the interceptions, of course, but they were all over the Bengals O-line, and the Bengals just could not get anything going. This was not their game here today. You got the Bills at Chargers, and man, the Bills want to make people sweat a little bit because they look good. They are fine. They're a good team, but man, they're kind of keeping it close with some of these teams they definitely should not. 15 for 21. Josh Allen had a decent game, whatever. James Cook, he just didn't look good. He fumbled the ball a couple times. I think it was 2 times, 3 times. I don't know. He fumbled the ball a decent bit though, and it just was not his game. As you know, he cooked last week, and now he's not doing anything this week. So I don't know what to think about James Cook. He's still being leaned on a little bit, but definitely was inefficient this week. Josh Allen though on the ground, efficient at least. I will say that. Receiving wise, Gabe Davis was the story. Stephon Diggs continues to not be the main receptor there, which is kind of curious. I'm curious to see how that plays out and how Stephon Diggs kind of reacts to this. They did get the win, so they're still easily in playoff contention, but I wonder how happy he is. Defensively, the Bills look good. There's a solid defensive team, nothing to complain about. They sacked against a good O-line, I'd say. I guess it's a banged-up O-line, but still, they did well against the Chargers offense. And Easton Stick, I mean, I don't know what to say. He looked okay. I mean, he didn't look amazing. He looked better than a lot of other quarterbacks this week, so I can't really complain about him too much. Austin Eckler continues to be really disappointing. Stick actually ran in one for a touchdown. Receiving-wise, kind of everybody got involved. That's just how the Chargers are kind of doing right now. And the Chargers defense, fine. They did whatever. I mean, I'm not going to complain about them too much. I really don't notice their defense all too often. So either way, Bills somehow almost stole this game, but mostly James Cook, I should say, and make people sweat a little bit, but they still easily are doing really, really well for the AFC. You got the Commanders, by the way. This game, I didn't even, really pay attention to, and then all of a sudden I look over, I'm like, oh my gosh, the Commanders actually got it. This is a close game, because the Jets were doing really, really good in the first half, and the Commanders decided to come back and almost win. So, who would have thought? Beside the point, looking at the stats here, got, Jacoby Brissett coming in. I know Sam Howell did get benched. That was really unfortunate. Neither one did very well, but then again, Jacoby Brissett at least was more efficient. I say more efficient, but I mean, he just actually completed passes, so go figure. Rushing, I didn't even realize, but Brian Robinson's out, so that was very, very curious there. So Chris Rodriguez Jr. got the main hold of it all. Antonio Gibson also was involved a little bit, but not the main carrier. So very curious there. I didn't realize how much the implications were behind Commanders this week. But Chris Rodriguez Jr. breakout? Question mark. 2 touchdowns, 58 yards, 5.8 yards on average. So cool. Terry McLaurin might actually be okay. He just looked good from the highlights I saw. He just hasn't been a central point of this offense, but he just looked like he was running routes the way he needed to, invading the corners the way he needed to too. Logan Thomas did get the touchdown, but Terry McLaurin looked kind of good, so I'm not going to really complain about that too much. I like Terry. Scary Terry. Commanders defense, though, this was not a good showing for either one of these defenses. From everything I saw, they got burned. Especially if you look at the run game from the Brees Hall over here. Very efficient. The run games for run defenses for these teams are not very good. Trevor Siemian came in. Sure, why don't we just not play Zach Wilson? That's fine. I guess Trevor Siemian's fine. Whatever. I'm not going to say anything. I got a bone to pick. Beside the point. Brees Hall, great. I mean, I can't really complain about him too much. He did very efficient football. Good for him. Brees Hall in the receiving game as well. Amazing. So, is he just the best player on that team? Yes. The answer is definitely yes. Beside the point. Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin also in the reception game, but weirdly enough, Jake Brownlee found the end zone of the receiving game. Beside the point, Jets defense did slightly better than the Commanders, I guess, question mark, but not that much better. Yeah, both defenses looked horrible. Both these teams' seasons are over, so whatever. Does not really matter. Get the Lions at the Vikings, and I love the Lions. I do, but man, their defense is going to fucking blow it for them if they do not, actually get their shit together. They are on the cusp of getting a #1 seed. Not only have they not made the playoffs in forever, well, I shouldn't say forever, but they have not done historically well in forever, and they're about to get the #1 seed if they just dot their I's and cross their T's. They could do that. Beside the point, their offense is looking good. I'm never going to complain about their offense. Run game, great. I mean, look at this. 2 touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs, 1 touchdown for David Montgomery. Great. Thunder and lightning. Jared Goff playing efficient, safe, good football. He had a couple rough games, but he's doing good football. Amon-Ra, great. Jameson Williams, suitable. They have overall good receiving corps. Sam Laporta, not his game, but he does well. I can't really complain about him either. Defensively, though, this looks good. This looks like they got 4 interceptions. Don't get me wrong. It looks like they did good. But holy crap, they wanted to blow this game. I'm not going to lie to you. They wanted to blow this game so much. With even a few sacks and 4 interceptions, you'd think, oh my gosh, the Lions should destroy the Vikings. Until you realize they let up 411 passing yards. Yeah, sure, there was no really rushing game. I'll give them that. The defensive line did all right there, and the offense did good getting ahead. But, man, their secondary was getting blown out of the fucking water at times. They just could not do tackles. They couldn't secure tackles. And, yes, they secured passes, interceptions, but somehow they blew that too. So, whatever. It's hard to describe. 2 touchdowns, 411 yards, 4 interceptions. That's the most, roller coaster stat line I've ever seen from Nick Mullins. I don't know what to think of him. Is he good? Is he not? I don't know. I just don't know with these quarterbacks anymore. Who's good? Who's good in the who's a good QB anymore? Do you need Patrick Mahomes? Do you need Josh Allen? I don't know. Who knows? Beside the point. Justin Jefferson, looking like how he used to be. KJ Osborne actually looked pretty good there too. G.J. Hawkinson, unfortunately, is out for the rest of the season, but it doesn't look like the Vikings are really going to make a big playoff push. They could still make it 7-8. It's not a bad record. They are still on the cusp of it, but gonna be curious. Defensively, oh, by the way, Alexander Madison did not get many carries. I don't know if that was I didn't really pay attention to that part because they really didn't run the ball a whole lot, but wasn't really involved, so I don't know if that was an injury or not. Defensively, the Vikings, whatever, they did pretty bad. That's not anything too new, so whatever. Lions, you gotta make sure you're more efficient. I guess it was a division rival, so I'll give you that, but man. My favorite game of the week, of course, the Browns and Texans. Oh, dude, I have Amari Cooper in all of my leagues because I think he's such an efficient player. He just gets a reliable player. Holy moly, franchise record for Amari Cooper. Round of applause for him right there. But Browns beat the Texans 36-22, and I can't deny it. Joe Flacco, I mean, I don't know what to think about Joe Flacco. Is he good? He might just actually be really good. Obviously, I think he's a good QB historically, but man, is he back? To actually make another playoff run? To make another Super Bowl run? I don't know. He looked really good this game. 2 interceptions was kind of rough, not going to lie. Those were 2 pretty poor throws compared to what he's been doing, but 368 yards and 3 touchdowns still makes it look really good, especially when you're not relying on your run game. Your run game couldn't really get anything going. Jerome Ford, they even tried Pierre Strong Jr. a little bit more. Kareem Hunt definitely couldn't get anything going. They got goal lines, I guess, but that was barely something. So, curious. But when you have Amari Cooper putting up 265 yards and 2 touchdowns, I guess you don't really need much. I mean, Joe Flacco's, his whole receptions was 2/3 Amari Cooper, which good for him. In terms of yards at least. But David Njoku is also very suitable. Found the end zone. Elijah Moore, Jordan Akins also all involved. But Amari Cooper was a story here. Defensively from the Browns, Myles Garrett, this is actually a notable thing that I saw from Wyatt's World when I was watching his reaction to this Week 16. He's kind of right. I don't think Myles Garrett has really been a factor in many games before. So I'm going to be curious on how that kind of turns out. But he's not been a big factor. I guess I really haven't made note of him. Except maybe pressuring. I think I made a couple notes of him pressuring pretty well, but he hasn't really been doing a whole lot. Either way, defense still did pretty well outside of that. And, I mean, the Texans' offense and defense are kind of struggling right now. They're trying to find themselves. Case Keenum was benched. Davis Mills actually came in and did pretty well. Meanwhile, run game, obviously, they couldn't get it going, really, because they were behind so much. Receiving, Dalton Schultz looked like a beast. Not going to deny. Noah Brown, I wish he got a little bit more love, but he really didn't. Nico Collins is out now, I'm pretty sure. Defensively, Houston Texans, again, they're so young. I can't judge them too much. And at this point, their season's pretty much over. I don't want to say it's over, but it's pretty much over. And it's kind of like, okay, let's just get ready for next year. I love the Texans, but they just got a game plan. CJ Stroud's back next week, I'm pretty sure. So great. Maybe they can still make a playoff push. 8-7's not a bad spot to be in, but do they really want to make the playoffs right now with how their team's really doing? I kind of feel that way about the Broncos too, which will get to them. Don't worry, definitely. Meanwhile, the Packers and Panthers, this is a game I really didn't follow, I'll be honest with you. This game I really didn't even know was going on too much. I knew it was going on, but not much. Beside the point, from what I saw, the highlights, Jordan Love looked good. Another fine, okay game from him. Run game, apparently Aaron Jones is back, so good for him, question mark. Receiving game, Romeo Doubs. I haven't seen his name pop up in a relevant manner in a hot minute. Tucker Kraft also coming off a lot of targets this game, so really good for him. Defensively, Packers fine, I guess, question mark. This is a weird game. I don't know exactly how the Panthers scored as much as they did from the things I saw, but they did. I mean, Bryce Young looked really good, but 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, one of his better games this season. Didn't look like the Packers defense was bad. It just looked like the Panthers were actually good, which is not something I'm used to. The run game wasn't really anything special, but when you have DJ Chark catching 2 touchdown passes, it doesn't really matter, especially when he's sharing about the same amount of yards with Adam Thielen, which is a much better ratio for this team to have. A younger DJ Chark doing well, and an older Adam Thielen still supporting the cast. So, again, this is just a very surprising thing. Very confused when I was seeing what I did see. The Panthers actually did all right, and they almost won against the Packers, which would have been hella funny, not going to lie. But either way, 33-30, I think the Panthers, if they have this kind of game more consistently, they might have something to look forward to next season. But you know, now that they have their not much draft capital, I will say their defense is still pretty rough around the edges. I'm not going to give them too much credit, but their offense really kept them in the game, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, good for the Panthers. The Seahawks and Titans. This is a game I didn't watch. I kind of just let my friends follow. I kind of just followed them in the group chat. Geno Smith looked fine, it seems like. And again, as you watch highlights of this game, I still see some clips here and there. Geno Smith looked fine. Can't complain much. Kenneth Walker, sure, he existed. Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith-Njigba was, actually involved. DK Metcalf found the end zone. Colby Parkinson exists, I guess. Look at that. 3 receptions, 17 yards, 1 touchdown. Cool. The defense from the Seahawks actually really put a lot of pressure on Tennessee. Unfortunately, then again, Tennessee just kind of threw it because their offensive line is in shambles, as you see from 6 sacks. Yeah, they just are not protecting their QB. Tannehill came in because I believe Will Levis was hurt or something was wrong with him. So Tannehill came in. Either way, Derrick Henry also did trick play. That was cool. Tennessee does that sometimes. I don't know. Derrick Henry has a pretty good arm. Pretty cool. Tannehill came in, though. Didn't blow the game for him. It was really the offensive line. I can't really blame much on Tannehill here because I know all my friends will, but Tannehill didn't do horrible, I guess. It was just the O-line sucks. And in all fairness, I mean, Derrick Henry carries him as usual. Sure. Tajay Spears, though, getting more involved. I don't know if that's going to be a worrisome sign for the future for the Tennessee run game, but we'll see. Then you got the receiving game, which, I mean, there's nothing special here. I'm not going to really make note of it. Defensively, Tennessee's fine in the run game, but otherwise they kind of suck. So it's very unfortunate. Tennessee barely lost this. They really want to sell this game. Seahawks also honestly want to kind of sell their games too, so I can't really say much. Both these teams are just very okay. They're very mid. They're strongly so mid. Seahawks more so in the upper end, while Tennessee Titans are more on the lower end. I really shouldn't talk shit about the Seahawks because they have so much potential, but man, they just want to blow games. They just are not. They're kind of like the Chargers of the NFC to a much lesser extent, but beside the point. Is fine from everything I saw. There was nothing too special about that. Colts getting destroyed by the Falcons. I mean, gosh dang. This was just rough. Rough to see. This is also a game I kind of caught more on red zone than anything. Gardner Minshew didn't look like it was one of his best games. Taylor kind of carried him for a little bit, but really, not really, I guess. Because it looked like he did well, but as you see, he's not very efficient in that regard. Then you got the receiving game. Not really anybody notable. Kylan Granson found 5 receptions, so that's kind of okay, I guess. Defensively, the Colts defense looked probably the worst it has all season, from what I remember, and the Falcons looked like they actually were a top possible contender for a playoff spot in this game because Taylor Heineke came in and actually looked pretty dang efficient. I don't want to say good, he looked dang efficient, and that's what you need to be on this team. Bijan was heavily involved. Tyler Algier was very efficient, so it's weird, and this is a strange dynamic to have. I know Tyler Algier is pretty good, but they're not leaning on Bijan at all enough. I don't know. I'm very mixed thoughts here. Because I know you don't want to overextend your rookie. Jameer, I think the Lions are handling that situation really well. But sometimes they want to lean on Bijan. Sometimes they don't. Do they not trust him? What do they want? And now they got Cordero Patterson in there. I'm not too sure. It's weird. Falcons are weird. I don't know what to think of them. I hate them. I just do not like them this season. Arthur Smith is absolutely horrible, in my opinion. But they're doing it. They're winning games and making teams look like fools. I'm not going to lie to you. Their defense actually looks all right. I mean, I'm never really going to complain too much about the Falcons defense until it looks kind of really bad. I guess in some games they have, but this game they didn't. So, good for them. Don't know what else to really say about that, other than the collapse of the Jags on the Bucks. Man, the Jags absolutely fucking collapsed this game. Dude, this is really cool to see Baker do so well. But it's so sad seeing Trevor do so bad. It was so sad. Trevor just did not look anything. He got benched, I believe. Was it benched or hurt? I can't remember. Either way, Trevor had to get on the sidelines, and man, he didn't get. No, I think he did get hurt. I think it was hurt because he wasn't benched per se. I think he just kind of said, "All right, we're gonna put you down." I think it was hurt. Now that I remember. But they just could not get anything going. Travis Etienne early on, he was using the run game, but they weren't able to give him carries because Baker just fucking cooked this game. He cooks a lot of games, so I can't really say much. Receiving wise, I mean, Evan Ingram and Calvin Ridley actually looked really good, I guess, for the complete passes that were completed. So, and it's kind of sad to say because seeing two receivers almost get 100 yards, Evan Ingram's tight end, but whatever, get, almost 100 yards means that Trevor should have looked good. And he did look fine, I guess. He just did not look comfortable. He just didn't look like himself. It feels like there's something off with this team, and they can't get a vibe for it. It's the offense, too. I can't say the defense has been doing too well, but I think the offensive struggles have kind of seeped into the defense, which is unfortunate. And hopefully they can get things turned around to make a playoff run. But, man, their defense, at the same time, like I said, don't know if they did bad. They just didn't do good. It just was a super weird dynamic from them. But then again, Baker just played good, smart, good football. They couldn't really use the run game a whole too much because they just were not getting anything going from it, so they kind of just used it to kill out clock. Baker, though, didn't really need to. He completed most of his passes, and 2 touchdowns were all what he really needed. Receiving-wise, Mike Evans is finally more relevant than Chris Godwin again, so cool. Trey Palmer exists. He's doing good. Rashad White's still a beast in the receiving game, so no complaints there. The Bucs defense looked pretty good. Again, I don't know this team is a good defense, but they do good stuff sometimes, and against a really struggling Jags team, they just took advantage of it. Simple to the point. So, good for the Bucs. They really look like a good team here, and we'll see if they can carry it forward. Meanwhile, you get the Cowboys and Dolphins, and man, this is actually a really good game. This is just a good, solid game. This is the kind of game I wanted to see from the Dolphins. And as much as I know the Cowboys lost here, I kind of wanted to see this from the Cowboys too. These are two teams that have been getting shit on because they haven't faced other good teams too often, I guess. And Cowboys, I guess, less so than the Dolphins, but still, it's just good to see that both these teams played football that was smart, efficient, and just not reliant over one strategy. Dolphins played smart football, not over reliant on their speed. They actually played like more dynamic football. The Cowboys kind of leaned into the more smart dynamics too and made a more balanced offense-defense dynamic. And it was just really cool to see. This is a very different game to see from these teams. Dak did good. Tua Tagovailoa did good. The run games was fine. Obviously, they struggled on both sides a little bit because I think both these D-lines played really well. But it wasn't anything horrible. It wasn't like the run games were abysmal. I guess looking at the yardage, I guess it could be considered abysmal. But beside the point, it didn't look like it was abysmal. The receiving game, CeeDee Lamb was the main person there. Jalen Tolbert and Jake Ferguson, they exist in the receiving game too. Brandon Cooks actually found the end zone too. So cool there. Defensively, I know it doesn't show a whole lot of stats here. There's only 1 sack on the game and no interceptions. But like, they just played smart football. They got stops, they got downs. It just was smart football from the Cowboys, and same thing from the Dolphins. Not the most impressive stats from the world from Tua, not the most impressive stats from the run game, not the most impressive stats from Tyreek. I know 999, 9 receptions, 99 yards is pretty impressive, decently, but it wasn't like a Tyreek game. It just was Tyreek did a lot of good passes or got good receptions, but it just wasn't like he just run down the field for 100 yards and made a touchdown every play type deal. It just was they were all playing smart football, and as even Jalen Waddle he was really the Tyreek Hill of this game, to be honest with you. Only 1 reception, 50 yards, I guess. I thought he got 2, but beside the point. And they just utilize more people. I mean, as you see, normally I just see Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill's names here, but now they're using Alec Ingold, Robbie Chosen. I thought one of the other receivers picked it up, but Durham Smith, I guess that's their tight end. Mike Gesicki, I thought Mike Gesicki found the end zone. Was that a penalty? Whatever. Either way, they're using more players, and that's what they need to do. And their defense is stepping up against a pretty decent offense. And I'd say the defense and the Dolphins played a little bit better. Just overall, obviously they won from it, but they both played really smart football. I can't really complain too much from the teams. Dolphins obviously look better, and I think they had more to prove. But the Cowboys also don't look horrible here. I think a lot of people are shitting on the Cowboys now because they're lost 2 games or whatever. They don't look horrible. I wouldn't judge them too much. They play 2 good teams decently well. Let's not judge them too much. Beside the point. Moving on from that was a lot of rambling there. Meanwhile, I got the Cardinals and Bears. Unfortunately, I did not see any of this game, I'll be honest with you. Kind of a game I kind of forgot about. But from things I caught in afterwards, Kyler looked fine. It looks like the Cardinals kind of just are writing the same narrative. They're doing fine. James Conner is good in the receiving game. Greg Dortch is doing pretty well as well. Cardinals defense still continues to be subpar, but efficient in some ways, I guess. And the Bears continue to have explosive moments. Justin Fields had a fine game, I guess. I mostly watched highlights, so it didn't really showcase that he only completed almost half his passes or something like that. But Khalil Herbert was the focus point. What's the run game? I don't know the Bears' run game anymore. They have three running backs that apparently take turns doing stuff. Don't know. Beside the point, I'm not going to say too much outside of Cole Kmet, though, does look to be injured. Think he'll be out next week, but we'll see. DJ Moore, though, wow, I just realized I thought DJ Moore had a lot more yards than that, to be honest with you. Cole Kmet was the story here, so that's cool. Defensively, the Bears did fine. Their defense has been playing pretty decently efficient football, slow-key, lights-out type football. I don't think I buy into the defense being really good. I think they just get, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I guess they get stops, and that's what they need. So I'm not going to say too much outside of that. Bears get the win, though. It could make a playoff push, but 2 weeks left. We'll see. Yeah, this game exists. All right, we'll show you the stats, and I'll give you my 2 cents. Bailey Zappi, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. The run game for Patriots weren't anything too notable. Devontae Parker and Demario Douglas absolutely just cooked this Denver defense freaking really well. Bailey Zappi looked like Tom Brady this game, not gonna lie to you. He looked pretty good. And that's not me just even shitting on the Broncos, because I'm a Broncos fan. It's me saying actually Bailey Zappi actually kind of made me a low-key believer in him actually playing efficient and good football. Nothing like special, but maybe just a league below Brock Purdy type football. And I say that funny enough that Brock Purdy had a really bad week this week, beside the point. Then you got the Broncos. I mean, stat-wise, I can't really say much. It just, it's fine. It's efficient, fine football. Russ played well. Run game couldn't get anything going. Jaleel McLaughlin, when he's out there, ran the ball, but at times they also were smart enough to know Jaleel McLaughlin's going to run the football. Javonte Williams made some bad reads. Marvin Mims was really a good breakout game. Cortland Sutton obviously got out early on. Jerry Jeudy was able to shine a little bit. Lucas Kroll, I was with my dad when I watched this game, and he kind of pointed him out to me. I didn't really recognize Lucas Kroll, so that's really cool that he pointed him out to me, and he did a pretty good game. And this was before the game he pointed them out to me, so I like that. Defensively, I think some people blame the Broncos defense here. I can't blame the Broncos defense too much. The Patriots had a good offense this game. I can't deny. For some reason, there's some weird calls here. There's some weird plays. I don't know what to really say here. The Broncos had the best, best fourth quarter. Meanwhile, they let the Patriots have a really good third quarter. Beside the point, there was just some weird plays, some weird fumbles here. I think it was Javonte Williams who fumbled. It was just some weird plays from the Broncos that just ended up costing them pretty dearly. Especially early on, they couldn't get it really much going. Third quarter killed them, and they finally played like a good team in the fourth quarter. But the defense did kind of break out a little bit in the end. But you can't really blame them too much. The Patriots had a good scheme against them in that fourth quarter, that last drive. So I'm not going to say that the Broncos suck. I'm not going to say the Patriots absolutely obliterated team. This is just good football from the Patriots, and it was just unfortunate football and bad football from the Broncos. It was a rough game to watch, but whatever. This is a fine game. Good for the Patriots. It's something to build off of. And Broncos, I think there's a lot to build off of there, but maybe try some little reads a little bit better. I just saw that Russell Wilson got benched for us this season. Don't overreact. It's for financial reasons, not for any playing reasons. I think the Broncos realize the playoff run's over, so it's just kind of take time and rebuild. So I think that's a good move. Then you get the abysmal game that was the Chiefs trying to upset the Raiders, which, by the way, whatever. Aiden O'Connell, 9 for 21, whatever, 62 yards, doesn't matter, because all they need to do is run the ball because the Chiefs' offense fucking sucks. Zamir White got so many fucking carries and so many yards because the Chiefs couldn't sneak his fucking stop. Jacoby Myers, and was the main receiver, but it doesn't really matter. The defense for the Raiders did pretty dang good because the Chiefs' fucking offense sucks. It just, they look horrible. The Raiders look amazing from all this. Who got the 3 sacks? McComb Kuntz? Who the hell is that? I don't even know who that is. Chiefs, though. Okay, I'm shitting on the Chiefs. I'm gonna take a step back. This is not Patrick Mahomes' best game, and it wasn't his proudest moment as a offensive mind and a player of the game. It was pretty bad because they for one, he threw a pick six, and the offense fumbled the ball for a touchdown. So they fumbled the ball, and the Raiders got a touchdown. And Patrick Mahomes just is not good under pressure. I don't know. This year he just cannot take it. This year he just can't understand that they're having a bad year, and he just cannot take it. And a bad year for them is that they're still going to go positive no matter what. So, whatever. They couldn't get anything run going because Isaiah Pacheco got hurt early on. Receiving-wise, Rashee Rice was the main person there. Travis Kelce had a bunch of hissy fits, and everybody else kind of got involved. Justin Watson also made some key catches here. Defensively, the Chiefs' defense kind of just really struggled here. I can't deny the run game was not the best. Obviously, didn't have many sack opportunities and they didn't have many pick opportunities, but they couldn't really get the run to stop either. So, Chiefs, Man, I like, I don't want to say I like you, but I like you more than the Raiders. But man, this is abysmal showing from y'all. Y'all need to actually get your stuff together. Just because you've been the top of the league, or top of this NFL playoff, picture for a hot minute, doesn't mean you can just cry about every play and everything. So it's kind of sad to see in that regard. So at the point, I'm kind of draining this video out for a little bit longer than I wanted to, but. Giants, Eagles, not much to say here, I'll be honest. Eagles played good football. Giants benched Tommy DeVito. Tyrod Taylor came in, played efficient football, but they really didn't. There wasn't much of a change. There wasn't. There really wasn't. Saquon did what he did. He did fine. Darius Slayton actually played decently well for those longer plays. Defense from the Giants stepped up their game, especially in the early parts of the game. Eagles, meanwhile, I think they had a more comeback-type game. I think Jalen Hurts looked a lot better. DeAndre Swift was involved more efficiently. Kenneth Walker was actually actually involved, especially in the receiving game. He's there for the dump-off passes there for him. A.J. Brown looked good in the second half. Devonta Smith looked good in the first half. Dallas Goedert looked good throughout the whole time. I think they have a very good, solid foundation to build off here. Defensively, the Eagles looked okay. I think their defense needs a little bit more help here, but otherwise, the Eagles played good football. It was against a division rival. Giants played good too. I mean, there's nothing to really complain about. This is the most solid Christmas Day game. Nothing to complain about there. And then, whoops, kind of got to that weird part. And then you got the utter collapse of Brock Purdy. And I'm not going to have everybody go and jump on Brock Purdy. I'm one of those people who I'm very unbiased in this whole thing. I'm going to go to 49ers for the first time here, just because I think he was the story of the game. Brock Purdy was hurt and technically benched, I guess, for Sam Darnold. I wouldn't overthink this because they threw 5 picks this whole game, which is not good. But Brock Purdy, 2 of those picks weren't really his fault. One of them you can definitely say his fault, and one's half and half, I think you can say. So 2 of his were definitely not his fault. He got pressured a whole lot. The offensive line of the 49ers kind of sold a little bit. It was unfortunate. I can't really say much from Brock Purdy. I know he's going to beat himself up. I know a lot of people are going to beat him up for it, and he's going to get not a whole lot of slack thrown at him. But he played okay football. Like he's been playing okay football, and I don't think people can judge him too much. I do think this kills his MVP conversation, but I don't think people should beat him up because this is not the best game in the world, but it's also against a good defense. So let's take away there. Chris McCaffrey still beast as always. Who would have thought? George Kittle still catches the key passes he needs to. Who would have thought? Defensively, I can't really say too much. The Ravens actually kind of ate them up a little bit. The defensive line from the 49ers is historically pretty well this season, but Ravens absolutely ate them up. Lamar Jackson looked really good passing-wise, efficient football. There's a couple rough moments, but nothing too bad. Run game, it's weird that there's as low yards as they are, because Gus Edwards and Justice Hill looked good out there, but I guess they just didn't look as good as I thought they did. I guess it was just because of the 49ers. By the end of the game, it was pretty much over. Lamar Jackson, though, was pretty good in the rushing game, obviously, as well, but not one of his best. Isaiah Likely caught some really key passes, but Zay Flowers was the main receiver by a long shot this game. He looks really good. Really proud of Zay Flowers doing as well as he has. Justice Hill is also involved in the receiving game a lot more. Gus Edwards did catch a pretty long pass, or actually short pass that turned out to be long yards, I think. Nelson Aguilar also found an end zone. That was cool. And defensively, I think the Ravens did really super well here. Obviously, 4 picks is a lot, but even outside of that, they just played very good, efficient football. Other than that, if you kind of follow me over here to the other window I made here, we're going to go to the playoff picture just real quick. Ravens, Dolphins. I think Dolphins officially solidified it this week. Lions also, I believe, officially solidified it this week. So we have 6 playoff teams overall, 2 AFC, 4 NFC. And we're going to go quickly down to our eliminated teams. Of course, Patriots, Panthers, Chargers, Cardinals, Titans, and Commanders are out. But the Jets and Giants are officially out now as well. So there are 10 teams fighting for their bubble spot. So Browns, Bills, and Colts are kind of the ones in that bubble. And the Bucks, Rams, and Seahawks are the ones outside of that bubble. Bucks still fighting for their own division, while the Rams and Seahawks are fighting for the wild cards. 8-7 on this side. Chiefs are still not solidified for the playoffs yet, which is weird. It feels like they should be solidified from this point, or by this point. But Jags are still barely in there leading their division thanks to a really bad week for the AFC South. Browns, Bills, and Colts are the main leaders of the wild card part of it. But Texans, Bengals, and Steelers still looking to make a run for it. I think this is the wild card it needs to be. Maybe the Colts for the Bengals. I don't know. Any of these 7-seed teams seems kind of on the weaker side of things. Browns and Bills have exceeded expectations by quite a bit. So we'll see. But yeah, and they actually have this playoff possibility now with wins and losses here. So that's kind of cool. I really like that feature from it. Yeah, the Vikings, Packers, and Saints and Falcons all still fighting for that spot. I think you can make an argument for the Packers and Saints and even the Falcons, unfortunately. But I'd say the Raiders, Broncos, and Bears. I know there's still storylines that they could still possibly make it, especially on the AFC side with the Raiders and the Broncos. But I think it's pretty much over. I think it's pretty safe to say. Either way, we'll go to the actual percentages. We'll let you kind of look over it, but I'll kind of know if the Dolphins 100%. Bills pretty much have made it. Jets and Patriots eliminated. Ravens made it. Browns pretty much have made it. Bengals and Steelers still have a small shot at it. Jaguars have pretty kind of made it. Colts and Texans, middle ground type deal. Titans have lost, obviously. Chiefs pretty much have made it. Raiders, slightly more chance of the Broncos, but both unlikely. Chargers eliminated. Eagles and Cowboys solidified, while the Giants and Commanders unsolidified. Or gone, I should say. Lions made it. Packers and Vikings have a small, slim shot of it, but not too much. Bears still have a path to victory, I guess. The Bucks pretty much have made it, but Saints and Falcons are not totally out of it. Panthers are. 49ers have made it officially. Seahawks and Rams, good chances, not the best chances, obviously, and the Cardinals haven't been eliminated. So there you go. That's kind of the playoff picture totally right now. There's not too much. There's a lot, obviously, now that we're 2 weeks in, or 2 weeks left of the regular season, there's a lot of possibilities that are small amount of possibilities that can happen here, so there's very few paths for a lot of teams here. This video has definitely gone longer than I wanted to, but I hope you guys enjoyed either way, my rambling and all these fun type of things. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know down in the comments below. StraightA Dawson, out.